water, earth, fire, air. Welcome to Bending the Elements. A production by the Novice Elitist Podcast. With your hosts, Caleb and Isaac. A podcast about all things Avatar. Welcome to Bending the Elements, an Avatar and Korra podcast, and a million other things once we're done those two series.
It's not just limited to animation, it's mostly going to be animation, but there's other TV shows that we might bring on as well, eh?
Oh yeah, I mean, I'm sure we'll cover the live action Avatar series whenever that comes out. I feel like we kind of have to.
Oh, and yeah, up front, again, I've said this before to him, that this podcast this channel was not made in response to the recent Nickelodeon announcing that the Break is now in charge of a whole new subsidiary of theirs. It's not because of that.
Yeah, I'll give some context here. So yeah, I'm Caleb. That's Isaac.
Oh, hello.
We've been doing a podcast for quite a while now called the Novice Elitist Podcast.
And you have as well with the Doctor Who podcast.
Oh yeah, I've got a Doctor Who podcast too. It's called Doctor the Crap Podcast. It's crap, but
go watch it or listen to it.
One of our early episodes, I think it was episode maybe 6, something like that. Actually, I think it was episode 10. Yeah, we covered Avatar the Last Airbender. I should say The Last Airbender is what we covered, the M. Night Shyamalan film.
Yes.
And just to give a little bit of history with my experience with this show, I'd never really watched it at all before we covered that episode. I'd always heard about it, and I always had a curiosity about it, but never just took the plunge and actually watched it. But prior to that, I went through the whole series, and that was kind of the impetus for us to watch that terrible M. Night film. But when we did that episode, we kept being like, oh yeah, one day we're going to start an Avatar podcast, and it's taken us... Yeah, when did we record that? I'm going to quickly take a look.
January 26, 2019.
Wow, so really, yeah, 2 years it's taken us.
Doesn't tell me which number podcast this was or what commentary this was for us, but I can assume we were actually trying to do a little get into that into this channel, or that channel, pardon me, a little more. So I would assume proper episode 10 or 12.
It was actually episode 8. I just looked in my giant Novice Elitist file. We had just started getting back to it regularly because we had tried to start the podcast for a couple years and it just never really went anywhere.
The problem was that we were on YouTube and that didn't exactly help, and it wasn't the proper format.
No. But yeah, that was our 4th episode when we officially came back and actually started the show. So yeah, real early on.
Revamped.
Crazy to think. 2 years. Wow.
Sorry to be reminiscing of our other channel, but this is this channel, and hopefully this will go long ways.
Yeah, the brand new feed. I'm hoping it'll take us in some new directions. Because we've been covering a little bit of TV. We've been covering Justice League over on that, the Bruce Timm Justice League series.
We'll probably keep that over there, though. Oh, I mean, we could do more episodes over here, but...
Yeah, I mean, I guess, I didn't really think about it, but we do have a little bit of experience covering animated TV, so...
This is true. Yeah, as for me, where does this all start? And you had never watched this on cable television back in the day, did you?
Nope. I think maybe I'd caught a couple episodes here or there, but never really watched it.
Okay, so I'm just trying to figure out what the exact date was it aired on YTV back in 2005. Oh crap, I forgot about the pilot episode. Yeah, we're gonna have to do that at some point.
Yes, I'd forgotten about it too.
Whoops.
Have you ever seen it before?
I have seen it, yes, and there's a commentary with the creators talking about it over it. I don't know if I think it might be on here somewhere. I hope on this new Blu-ray box set, which by the way, yeah, mine, his probably came in pristine condition. Mine came, it's not the bootleg version, I'll say that, but it certainly feels like it.
Oh, did it come damaged?
Well, I told you the casing came damaged, I think the discs are fine, but Even still, like
Oh
the whole
yeah.
case was like the case can't close properly on like the Avatar one or the Last Airbender one, excuse me, and like it's broken. The disc slots are broken. They don't hold together properly.
Yeah, it came from Best Buy, right?
That's Best Buy for you. Free advertising right there.
Wow, that's terrible. I'd forgotten about that. Yeah. I knew you had your Best Buy problem. I just couldn't remember what caused it, but no, that's fair. That's I'd send it back. But according to Wikipedia, it was in February 2005,
February 2005
February 21st.
for the pilot or for like the proper pilot.
I don't think the pilot was ever actually released. It was
It
just
was
for the
never.
execs. So yeah, this would have been the series proper, February
Right.
21st, 2005.
Was that for? But is that for the United States or for Canada?
Oh, I highly doubt they put the Canadian release on
God
Wikipedia.
dang it. Probably not. But I do remember sitting down. Like it was a normal Saturday morning for me at that point. What am I at that point?
Like 11?
2000. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Thank you. Yeah, I'm 11 at that point. Uh,
10 that early.
well, no, 10, just because I don't turn 11 until September.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
I go about my usual thing back then, as most boys and girls did, which is watch television, Saturday mornings, and which doesn't exist anymore, but whatever. And see the series, and oh boy, I don't know, there was something about it that was different, and I very much enjoyed it. And then after book one, I think they didn't air it after that, unless they did, and I'm wrong on that, but I think YTV did not air that afterwards.
Oh wow.
I could be wrong on that.
Yeah, I have no clue at all. I wasn't paying much attention to it, so
Yeah, exactly. So, but there was just a lot of stuff in it that I thoroughly enjoyed, amongst mostly the elements. That's why I'm glad that you titled this "Bending the Elements" podcast. It's very nice. I don't. It was nice to see the classical elements looked at in a different way in this series, specifically with the integration of martial arts and how they tied that into them, which was nice.
yeah, that was gonna be one of my questions for you. Is what initially drew you to the show?
Both the world, the characters, and the martial arts, which is what everybody will say, of course.
Yeah, I think for me, I mean, of course, I watched it all because now playing podcast did a big M Night retrospective, and that was kind of my excuse. But I'd always thought the animation style looked interesting, and it just seemed like it had at least from the outside, what the fans were saying is that it had a really cool like sense for world building, and so that was one of the things that always made me kind of want to check it out. And honestly, Appa, the air bison, I always just love that image.
He's wonderful, isn't he?
Yes, he is. And so get ready, everybody. You'll definitely hear me praising him a ton in my notes. I'm sure I've mentioned him a couple times in these two episodes, but
Oh yeah, the animals was another thing of how they mixed and matched the creatures up, and I was like, "Ooh, that's genius. I like that." And it especially took it away from like this is not Earth, this is its own planet, but it's heavily based off of Earth-based ideas and constructs.
yeah, that was something that I was not so sure about the first time I watched it, whether this was supposed to be like actually our Earth or like a different planet or something. But
It's not our Earth. It is not our Earth. It's heavily inspired by our Earth, but you watch the opening crawl, you watch the intro sequence, and you see that map they show is not anything like our Earth.
hey, this was before all the continents broke up. This was Pangea.
How is this Pangea or whatever the supercontinent before Pangea was?
Yeah, I'm not sure which one that is, but
Oh crap. Nope. I'm gonna look it up. Okay, so apparently there's in my brief search, and again, I don't want to keep looking at Wikipedia, but there was Gondwana, Rodinia, Valbara, and Columbia or Nuna. Because there's been several, yeah, in geology class, I remember there being like more than one. They were teaching us that there was more than one supercontinent before Pangaea.
hmm,
Because the Earth is very, very old.
very, very old. But moving away from Pangea there. So you started watching it when you were a kid, but you said that you fell off either because Nickelodeon wasn't playing it or for whatever reason you just didn't catch up following the first season.
YTV was not playing it.
Yeah, so what made you come back to it later on? Like what age did you kind of come back to it and watch it all the way
What
through?
age? So I think it was 2011. my best friend and I were sleeping over at his house, and they had an Avatar marathon going on. Like from, I think it was on, yeah, I think it was on YTV. They got the rights back, I guess. Could be wrong on this completely. And we didn't watch it all, but we watched some of it, and we went to bed. And let's see, I think we were just at the end of season of book one, excuse me. And then after that, when we woke up, it was like all of book two was played, and then I think it was book three, episode three. By that point, I don't remember. But anyway, that's not what got me into it. I just remember that was like one of the things of like in my mind. I was like, oh, okay, I got to remember this series. And then Korra came out, and I was able to watch that. And this time I was watching it illegally on the line because they weren't showing the series in Canada at that point. So I'm like, well, I guess I have to torrent it.
Didn't know that.
Except they're actually playing it right now, and not right now, but they're playing it on YTV right now on like late nights, I believe, either on Saturday nights, Friday nights, or just weeknights.
That's odd. That didn't. Wonder why that is. Because the Avatar was such a big show. I mean, it's strange they wouldn't.
One thing that you all will hear me say is that the biggest mistake Break made in their shoes, I'd probably do the exact same thing they did. So I will not pass judgment. But at least I think the obvious thing that should have done is that Break should not have given Nickelodeon this. This is the black sheep, as someone put it once, of Nickelodeon, in that there's no other show on Nickelodeon like this.
Think it was too serious.
It was way too serious. Nickelodeon was much more about. I mean, yes, you have your Hey Arnolds and dot dot dot. I don't remember anything else. I mean, maybe SpongeBob, like first three seasons of SpongeBob, but like
Yeah, could go a little dark every now and again.
they in those first three seasons certainly there was a lot of like serious episodes, not serious episodes, but episodes that when you look at it now as an adult, it's like okay, there's a little more sophistication to that rather than like what happened afterwards in season 4 beyond, like after the movie. But this was much more. There is comedy, yes, and I do enjoy the comedy. I don't know if you enjoyed the comedy or not, but like it's such a more mature show than what its network provided with. The network was mostly just half hour sitcoms, not sitcoms, pardon me, but comedy shows, and this is like an actual like epic in a way.
Yeah, actual serialized television. The fairly well set up plot running throughout each of the chapters, books, I should say. Sorry, not chapters. But
Yeah, books. Trust me, I keep getting like mixed up as well.
So 2011, you watched it with your buds. Is that kind of what inspired you to get back into it full, or?
No, that is not it. I just bring that up for like random story's sake.
Yeah, a little random memory.
Yeah, random memory, just because they had a whole marathon. And they also had with them, they had these things called Avatar Extras, which was little sidebars that would tell certain things about the world, which was nice.
Oh, that's interesting.
I really hope that's on this disc. I really hope that these exist on here because I really want to look at them again. You can look at them on the wiki. They have them there and all the like quips that they had. Some cool like elemental stuff that I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. But so I watch all of Korra. I finish it. It's finished in 2014, and I buy all the Blu-ray discs, which you have, I think, 3 of them at your house right now.
I have all 4 of the Korra ones, and I gave back the Avatar ones.
That's true. Okay, so I buy all the Korra stuff, and then June or July. That's right, June or July of 2015. First off, I finally have money. I have more money than I did because I was broke at like previously to 2014. I was able to scrounge up enough money to get those things and or those Blu-rays and or get them from as gifts from my family. And I finally have money because I was working at a certain job. And I go to Best Buy. Yes, it's Best Buy at the time. The one that's now a COVID testing facility. Yeah, the one on King George.
Mm-hmm.
And I go in there, and all of a sudden, what do I see? But I see the DVD of Avatar, and I'm like, of book 1, excuse me. I'm like, holy smokes! And it was like $15.99. So I'm like, deal, man, and I bought it and started watching it and like binged the whole thing, and I was like, yes, I remember why this was good. I finally got to see it. And so then I think the next week or the next day I went and found the other 2 books, and bought those immediately and just went on an Avatar trip. I was in an Avatar mood that year. It brought me out of the dumps, and then I got depressed again after that, but we won't talk about that. And my spirits were lifted. I was just like, this is amazing. It's so nice. And I finally actually got to see, because I had seen some scenes on YouTube of Avatar, of like books 2 and 3. And then, but I never saw the finale properly. And I finally saw the finale and I was like, this was great. This was worth it. One of the best finales I've ever seen in a TV show. And with watching all that, it cemented this show for me as my favorite television show program ever.
Yeah, 2015. Wow, yeah, for some reason I thought you'd watched it all when you were a kid, but yeah, no, that's awesome.
Certainly made me want to go back and watch them as a kid. And I had that giddiness as a kid when I was watching them, but I did at least watch book 1 when I was a kid.
Yeah, that's cool.
If you consider 10 years old as a kid at that point, unless you're a preteen, but I don't know.
No, yeah, I think that's still a kid. I don't think you enter your preteens until you're like, I don't know, like 11 or 12.
Yeah.
Maybe that's stupid.
It's really by an age.
Yeah.
Up front, who's your favorite character?
Ooh, favorite character is, I believe, it's always kind of balanced between Toph and Iroh for me. I'm never quite sure which one I like more, but
I think it honestly is still as like, even if he is like I'm not title character, but as he is like he has the title of the title itself. It is Aang. I don't know why. I just love his mischievousness, and I love how he does have the weight of the world on his shoulders. I'm not saying I'm like, putting that on. I can relate to that, but like, I don't know. He was just a fun-loving dude, and I love the fact that he was like surfing on his wing staff. Excuse me, and it made me literally want to be an airbender. I think if I was a bender, I probably want to be an airbender. What about you?
Oh, absolutely Airbender. Absolutely.
All the other ones are good. Don't get me wrong. Even if Air is the weakest, unless you go to Korra. But man, oh man, the freedom that you can do with Air is pretty fun.
Yeah, it'd be cool to be a waterbender just because I love water, but to be able to like fly would be just a dream.
Oh yeah, certainly. And actually, this brings me up to another thing I had, another like interesting fact. I once, probably again preteen or around either 10 years old or 12 years old, I had a dream where I was the Avatar, but it was like at my church kids camp, and it was a modern version of it. So there were flamethrowers in that dream, and I was like, "Geez, that's creepy." But yeah, I was the Avatar, and but it was they announced it to me, so that didn't mean I have all the powers. I think I was a firebender, or was able to bend fire first. It was like, oh, that's cool, and then the dream ended, and I was like, oh man, I kind of wanted to see what happened after that.
Oh, that's always the worst when you wake up and you're like, oh, I wish I could have finished that dream.
Yeah, or see what happened, like how that would. Maybe I'll just make a fan fiction of that. I have no idea.
Yeah, I've written many stories based solely on. Sometimes it's even just like a fragment of a dream.
Oh, same here.
Like, oh, I remember this one moment. I want to craft a story so I can get to that moment.
And I will say, because of this series, it has helped me with my writing and world building. I've actually used this series as a basis for some of my like stories. Again, going away from the world, but like it really helps. Like a lot of my series are based off of this. I just go back to this. Not often to Star Wars, funny enough, even though this series has got heavily inspiration from Star Wars.
We can definitely talk about that, yeah. But yeah, that's a great foundation to build off of. Really great world building in this.
More Miyazaki as well, of course, but
Yeah. Which I guess you're experiencing around a similar time. I guess it was the next year, actually.
a year later, I see what influenced Break to make this series. Not fully, but like a lot of scenes that were from Nausicaa or Mononoke were in this series, and I was like, holy smokes.
Yep. We'll definitely get into that. But so just to lay out a little bit of the ethos with the show here.
Yeah, let's go ahead.
So at least for me, I was hoping to do it so we'd have like a non-spoiler section where we only discuss the episode that we're currently on.
Right.
That way new fans can get into the show without worries of spoiling major moments. But post the credits at the end of the episode, that's when we kind of enter the spoiler section. So if they're like setting up a cool aspect of the plot or a character kind of arc, and we want to discuss where that goes eventually to see how it kind of resonates early on. We'd all have that stuff hidden in the spoiler section in the end. Oh yeah, I was also gonna try for not swearing for this show because I'm just such a sailor. I'm hoping I can keep that down to a minimum.
Keep it G or keep it PG?
Uh, pro- I guess it's kind of a kid show, so I guess I should try to keep it G. I guess.
Yeah, fair enough. Sure.
Yeah, at least for these two shows, I'm maybe after we're done with Avatar and Korra, maybe we'll branch into more kind of adult animation. I can kind of
Well,
let
I
things
mean,
go
if we
more.
go to certain actual like Japanese animation, like well, I mean, certain OVAs will do. Well, it depends. Like one-off OVAs will be at like our on our other channel, but like OVAs that are series, oh boy, they're staying on here. Like if we watched all of, well, I mean, it's not certainly there's not swearing in that, but there's some like suggestive themes in standalone complex, for instance.
Yeah, I definitely feel like this podcast will be more about like not just a one-off episode of a show, but actually like covering a whole show,
Yeah, exactly.
which will be great. I mean,
Oh, it's
I
new
love
territory
that.
for us, and it kind of takes the weight off our shoulders in our other channel, at least.
Yeah, you don't have to cloud up the feed with just random episodes from shows.
Oh yeah, totally.
Yeah, which I have with some podcasts where it's just kind of irritating to kind of scroll through and try to find things.
It's for you guys, so please, please, this is for all of you guys. I mean, for our benefit, of course, as well. But tell your friends, please, bring your friends, your mothers, your fathers, your sisters, your wives, your husbands, whatever,
Your children.
your children, if you have any, your children's children, and go so on and so forth. Your ex-wives, your ex-husbands.
Yes, follow us on Podbean or whatever podcatcher you use and come along because we're really looking forward to this show.
Yeah, exactly. I will say, is this show? Well, I'm actually yeah. Let's up front. Is this show anime?
Yeah, is it anime? I mean, it's
Uh,
not really, but it's
it's
clearly
not.
influenced by it.
Heavily influenced by the Japanese, who were influenced heavily by Disney, so which is American, so therefore it's full circle. Let's be honest here.
And I'm looking forward to when you hear the episode that me and Eric just did
Oh
because we
boy.
discussed some of the fan reaction to Midsummer as compared
Oh
to The
yeah.
Wicker Man, and
Oh.
yeah, and so there's that whole like people being like, "Oh, this feels influenced by something else, so it's crap because if it's not the original thing, it's not good."
Oh boy.
So I can definitely I've seen people criticize this show for feeling like knockoff anime, and like I've even seen like some cultural appropriation arguments thrown at this show.
Okay.
But I just don't get it. I mean, but maybe we don't want to go down that road.
People can be ruthless and passionate. Passionately ruthless.
Hmm.
I don't know. What do you guys want exactly? Like,
You'll never please some people.
you can never. You just have to accept the fact that people will not be pleased. So, and I to that I say, for those people who aren't pleased, go do your own thing, and then arguments start because of that. It's like, oh, okay, well, oops. I guess we have to accept that.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll have more debates over the however long it's going to take to go through these as to whether it constitutes as anime.
It's I say it's not, even if it is made by Americans who then and it's animated by Koreans.
Hmm.
A lot, it's like shared between both, so it's I almost say it's Korean American. If I'll be honest there, but that's just me. But again, the eyes, the face, it doesn't look anime. I'll say that it looks.
Well, it depends on what period of the show you're in.
I guess so. You're right.
Yeah, sometimes they lean. I feel like Korra even more so leans into kind of the anime vibes at times, I should say.
Actually, you're totally right. Yeah, by Korra it gets that, but for book one, I don't think it goes straight into anime territory.
No, I don't think so either. But I guess we'll see. I've only gone through the show once. I should just mention.
Oh, you're gonna need to go through it a bunch more times than that, but that's just me.
Yeah, I mean, I've been itching. It's crazy to me that it's been 2 years because I've been itching and itching to go through this series all this time. But
It's great. It's wonderful. It's pardon me if I'm overhyping it like the Mandalorian is right now, but it's good, and I do hope that whatever Bright continues to do with this series, I hope that they can not so much be pleasing to fans, but certainly I hope they stay true to what they first thought of when they made the series.
Hmm. Yeah, I'm so curious about those new series that they're going to be doing. Apparently, it's a theatrical film that they're going to be doing first, so they haven't
Okay,
announced the
now,
details of that. But
oh boy, that was. I think I've said my part on that, but I'll just I said that in our commentary of Last Airbender, but I'll reiterate it here. What happened with the M Night film should have honestly been a animated film talking about Zuko's mom. Like, I think that would have been way better because it's a one-off story and it's continuation of the series. So like afterwards, so yeah, you're gonna have to like watch the whole series, and then it's like it's not the finale, but it's a movie set after the series. So I think it could work, and it's not a typical like, oh yeah, the characters don't have a development. Yeah, it's just like, and then it could have opened the door to more stuff, but that's all now in the comics, which I haven't read yet, which is funny. No, I did read. I did read the search for Zuko's mom. So
yeah, which I'll say we'll definitely cover those on here.
actually, yeah, I guess we can cover that stuff since we can look at it digitally. So
Yep. I know a future co-host on this show, Manos, has read almost all that stuff at this point. He's a rabid fan for the comics and the books.
not
So
well. Was there books though? I don't think there were any novel books.
yeah, I'm pretty sure they put some out recently.
Oh golly. Okay, never mind. Time to read
Yeah,
up my stuff. But does he have
but
the Lost Adventures comic? Yeah, he probably does.
yeah, that I'm not sure, but
Which I consider those canon. Those are all canon if in my mind. Without further ado, welcome once again to this channel, and I'd like to thank everybody for listening to this. And I hope you enjoy this. And if you don't, well, that's fine. You can tell us. That's your opinion, your voice. Everybody has a voice and has a right to their opinion.
yeah, and write in if you have anything you want to say about the show, or if you potentially want to weasel your way into being a guest on the show, on our previous
We're
podcast.
not desperate. We're not desperate at all. It's just like we don't mind audience because I again I don't consider myself personally above anybody else. So I'm always okay with having another person talking to or to talk to with. Excuse me.
Yeah, and personally, we don't know a whole lot of Avatar fans, and so it'll be great to kind of open up the range of opinions we can get on the show. So I'm looking forward to that.
I'm a guy who was never on the forums back in the day, so I don't know whatever the internet was saying about that back in the well.
I was going to ask you, were you a part of Avatar fandom when you got
No,
into it? Mm.
no. I'm rarely in any fandom nowadays anyways. Like I'm not, and when you say that, do you mean like you're going online or you're going to conventions and talking with other fans?
Maybe not conventions, but just yeah, be having an online kind of fan experience with like a fan community, that kind of thing.
Very limited, like very, very limited. Like only restricted to certain websites, and that's it.
Do you have anything more to say in this kind of introductory episode here?
Flame Yo Hotman. Other than that, everybody get their what else? Everyone get their bison whistles ready. Get your Appa stuffed animals, not legit stuffed animals, but like uh, get your T-shirts and your property. I don't actually have any like Avatar T-shirts. That's like terrible of me to say.
I don't have any Avatar anything except for the box sets.
Actually, I do have. My friends gave me a picture of an artist drawing of Korra and Asami on top of Naga together, which is pretty cool.
That sounds awesome.
It's right above my window sills, so it's like, and that's pretty awesome. It's right next to, not right next to, but it's near my Godzilla against the Japanese tidal wave that my friend got me from Japan.
Oh yeah, yeah. I don't even know if I've seen that in person.
Yeah, I gotta send you a picture of that. Anyway, sorry. Enjoy this, guys. Apologies if I'm not the best podcaster around. I don't attempt to be, but I at least try to be. I try to be professional. But when I made the title up for our other show, I think it was aptly proposed that I am a novice elitist. I think I'm elitist, but really I'm not. I'm talking out of my butt. It's a paradox, like
Well,
fire on water. I guess I don't know, or earth and. When you combine earth and water and air and fire, what do you all get? Mud, or dried up mud, or sand. I don't know. Maybe glass. Who knows? I'd also like to mention that I love at least for us, there was a remember I sent you that picture of the United States as each of the nations,
Yeah, that was great.
and we then were like, okay, what does Canada look like? And it's like BC is either waterbenders or airbenders, and then all the prairies are, I guess, the Earth Kingdom, maybe. And then, oh yeah, then the territories are all water tribe, and not just because the water tribe is based off of the Inuits, but just because they're all near water as well. I
Hmm.
guess Ontario could be Fire Nation, sure, and then Maritimes, I'm not sure, and Quebec is just its own thing.
Of course, yeah, Quebec. I mean, that's kind of the outsider, you know. Oh,
They're a Republic City. I'll give them that. They're a Republic City.
that's fair. That's
Yeah,
fair.
no, I don't hate Quebec. Don't worry. But there are some things about Quebec that frustrate me. Let's put it that way.
But yeah, I guess we'll jump into the first proper episode here. So tune in next time, folks. It'll probably come out very close together.
Yep.
So yeah, check it out.
Take a listen and there. Have some hot tea. There we go. Have some hot leaf
Yeah,
juice in the alongside of it. There we go.
and some roast duck to quote Iro in this first episode here. But yeah,
There you go.
peace.
Welcome to the new channel, or welcome to this channel. If you've never heard us before, you're in luck for something I have no idea you walked in on. You didn't win. If we're basically the unused, not even used, but the thrown away lottery numbers. That's what we are.
Uh, This section of the podcast contains spoilers for all seasons of Avatar the Last Airbender and The Legend of Korra. Enter at your peril. Yeah, because a little while ago, I tried to join some Avatar Facebook groups, Avatar and Korra, and they were just bad groups. I mean, it was constant debates. Who did Katara end up with in the end?
Oh
Was it
yeah.
Avatar and Zuko? And it was just like the same arguments, just cycling over and over again.
Well, there is that debate, and I do. I'm not, I won't say I have my opinions as well. I do, but I certainly, if you look in the behind the scenes during the show, yes, there is discourse amongst some of the writers, Aaron Ehas and Bragg. I will say that, and both certainly, and many other writers contributed to make this show possible. It wasn't just Bragg. Pardon me for saying that.
Hmm.
But yeah, without Aaron Ehas, I think something was lost during Korra. But that doesn't make Korra like, it just makes it a okay show, I think.
Interesting. Yeah, we'll definitely get into that because yeah, I noticed that he was absent in that series.
But
But
I will point out, this is obviously gonna the fan dropout or drop. Uh, sorry, the fans dropping off are because I'm about to
droppings.
say I'm okay with. I actually like the fact that Aang ended up with Katara. I wanted that. I was like, yeah, totally. I never in my mind when I was watching, my thoughts never crossed for Katara ending up with Zuko. I actually wanted more episodes with them because I think they paired together well together. I wanted more episodes, kind of like My Little Pony, Friendship is Magic, where I wanted more episodes with everybody individually together. Like we never got that episode with Toph or Zuko in book 3.
Mm.
It's like I wish I could have had more stuff like that just to see how these characters would interact. But nah, everybody's got to be about romance because eros love is, or all that matters to people, I guess, and not friendship.
Oh, we can hope
Excuse me.
that they get into more of those details in the comics, because comics are the perfect avenue to explore that kind of
Well,
extraneous stuff.
we certainly know how Toph turned out. I'll say that, going through two husbands, or at least two lovers. Pardon me.
I gotta say, I adore her representation in Korra. I think they nailed it so well. How that kid would
Fair
grow
enough.
up.
Yeah, no, that's a woman for you. That's how that character would turn out when she's 90. But
And the fact that her kids have like they're just like no real relationship with her. I'm like, yeah, that makes sense. That she would
that
not
seems
be a
like a
great
real
mom.
responsibility. You'd think that she wouldn't have kids. Like out of all the characters in this series, she would be the one that wouldn't have kids. But turns
Yeah,
out she would.
yeah.
Honestly, I could see her being in a relationship with a woman before she'd be in a relationship with a man. Jeez.
Oh yeah, that's the other thing that just constantly being thrown around in those Avatar groups. Did
Oh,
Korra and
jeez, yeah.
Asami pair up in the end? They had that hand holding moment. Did that mean that they fell in love? It's like, oh,
Oh
it's like,
boy. I mean, okay, I was there for that when that happened. Um, not live, but I was there when that all went down, and I will just say that it was. I'm not going to say poorly seated in, but it certainly wasn't up front beforehand. Like people will say, okay, there was a setup, like there were scenes with them together, but again, I just took that as them being friends, not engaging in an actual like romantic relationship.
yeah, which
But
was kind of their whole arc in that last season. It's kind of like, hey, let's kind of repair these issues and let's actually be like friends and try to have a healthy relationship.
yeah, exactly. And if that moment is the start of them saying, okay, I want to go further than just uh friendship and go romantic, that's fine. Usually it's a they talk to each other, but I guess in that moment they had to. And of course that was also a big symbolic message for time in America of, the fact that the gay rights were you could finally marry in the United States. Which, was great. That's fantastic. Um so for the time you're looking back on it, yeah, it was great, but nowadays, I mean, I guess it still works.
Yeah, we'll definitely talk about it whether they're being kind of gay coded throughout that last season because I didn't see it.
Yeah.
Um, but we can definitely discuss that in more detail because I wasn't looking for it. So, but that'll be a long
Yeah.
time from now. But